Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 248th episode of Gyan Pravah. I'm Dr. Chaitanya Ganpule, Chairperson of Endocrinology Committee, Fogsi, and along with me, I have Dr. Sunita Tandulwadkar, President, Fogsi 2025, and whose brainchild has got this podcast for us. And we are in the 248th episode. We have today Ms. Sakina Bedi with us, who has done a lot of work for blind girls. And I would like Dr. Sunita Madam to say a few words before we actually start with the podcast with Sakina ji.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this near to 50th podcast series. Sakina ji, welcome on a Foxy platform. This is what this Gyan Pravah is. It is not necessarily we speak with the gynecologists from India or outside. It's not necessarily we speak from the academician, but we always speak with the faculty who has done something unachievable for others, and you have achieved. You have given some significant contribution, and the world should follow it. So I congratulate Chaitanya to get Sakina ji, and Sakina ji, your podcast will be with Chaitanya. But I just joined to say hello to you. President Foxy joining to give a respect is a very important thing, I believe so. So welcome on this platform, ma'am. And I think you have taken Chaitanya, the level of a podcast to another level. I know I have read about Sakina ji when you send the message, but I'm sure your podcast will be one of the best podcasts anyone could listen, and lot to follow and learn in life than just doing OBGYN. Thank you so much. And I wish you all the best. Sakina ji, I'll be joining from the viewers link and will be enjoying the dialogue between you and Chaitanya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Well, now let's start with the actual topic of today, and that's vision beyond sight. And for this, we have with us Mrs. Sakina Bedi. Let me introduce her in brief before I actually, start having an interaction with her. She works as the Chief Spokesperson and Cause Advisor, Education and Career Development with the National Federation of the Blind, Maharashtra's NFBM Jagruti School for Blind Girls in Alandi Devachi near Pune. She is also a founder and managing principal Intellectual Asset Management, a financial services and investment advisory company. Well, she has been associated with this school from 1999, and she has done a lot of work in the upliftment of this school in particular and the girls along with that. She has participated in several conferences on issues related to rights of persons with disability. She is a motivational speaker, and that you will get to know in the next 50-55 minutes, and a successful homemaker. She has been the recipient of several awards. To name a few, she has been awarded the National Award for the Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, Divyanjan 2020 by Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India, in the category of Best Individual Professional Working for the Cause of Person with Disabilities for year 2020. Neelam Kanga Award by the National Association for the Blind, NAB Mumbai, Jidha Puraskar, Dynamic Achiever of the Year 2007 by Sundarji's Institution. Lady of the Year by Prashanti Cancer Care Organization in 2008, Siddha Puraskar, Lions Club of Parvati, Pune, and Sangharsha Sanman Puraskar 2009 in the memory of Anita Outset by Muktanga. She has done her Master's in Social Sciences from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, and her graduation is with honors in history from University of Pune. Welcome, Sakina ji, for this podcast of today.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to be a part of the 248 podcast of Fogsi. It's really an honor for me to be on this platform and to be meeting several audiences from India and abroad. Thank you for giving me this opportunity once again.
The pleasure and honor is ours, madam. So, madam, let's start with your own journey first. And then I will come to your profession and what all things you have done in the last 45 years. But to begin with, when did your parents got to know that you are visually challenged, and what was their reaction or response, or how did they cope up with in the initial phases?
Actually, sir, I was born in the years with respect to everything, because the world since our arrival has changed a lot. So the day I was born totally blind. And to be very honest, my parents were actually looking for a girl child, including my grandmother, because my mom had two sons before me. And they were actually looking for a girl child. So when I was born and when my Dadima was told that, I have come to this world, initially she was very happy. But then when the doctors told her that, the child is absolutely fine, but she has come with this challenge. And before that, my middle brother is also visually impaired, and he was also born totally blind. So when they got to know about this, my parents were actually, in a way, both the mom and dad and my grandmom, they were all devastated to the core, because it's one thing to have one visually impaired child, but it's another to have a second one also in the sequence, and also a child whom you are really aspiring for. So when my father looked at me and went to my mother, who was very, very upset and depressed, there was only one thing he said to her, that it's only because we are capable that the Lord has sent this girl to us. So let's look at it from that angle, and let's try to sharpen the eyes of her mind. Pragya Chakshu, as we call them. Yeah. We'll make special efforts and bring up this girl in such a way that she tomorrow becomes maybe something for herself, and if possible for the society. These were his words, is what my mother often used to tell me. So This is how my birth happened, and this was the attitude with which I came into this family, although it is a traditional Orthodox Dawoodi Vohra Muslim family.
Yeah. It's so important to have parents who could be supportive whenever a child with special issues or special needs are born. Is this the case in every household where a child with a special need is born, or you have seen that there are different kinds of people around having different reactions or responses?
Actually, sir, unfortunately, in the decades in which I was raised, like 1970s and 80s, this was not the attitude of most parents, because it was not their fault also, because A, they were not aware of how to raise a child with special needs, and B, 90% of the parents to whom these children were born were finding it difficult to find 2 square meals for themselves, let alone bringing up a child with special needs in their house. So looking after such kids was considered to be on the liability side of the balance sheet of life. This is what I always say. Having said that, in the 1990s and 2000s and today, with the advent of technology and the awareness that institutions like National Federation of the Blind or National Association for the Blind or other organizations dealing with other disabilities, the kind of efforts they are making for creating awareness amongst the population at large about the abilities of the specially abled, I think things are looking positive. I'm very sure that, but you rightly said this, that it is the key to a child succeeding in life if your parents have a positive attitude. It's very important, actually.
Absolutely. So after this initial setback and the kind of support what you got from your father and your mother, how was your upbringing otherwise? And what happened? How did you go to school? Did you go to school at all? Which kind of school you went to? Can you just elaborate on that?
Definitely. So my childhood was based on one principle, which
Mhm.
my father always used to reiterate. What he used to say is, disability is noticed, but abilities are recognized. The choice
Wow.
is yours. It was very simple. He had told me this. It's your choice, what you want to be. You want to be recognized or you want to be noticed. So if you aim to be recognized as a person, there is no excuse to hard work and no shortcut either. In life, the only mantra for success is work hard, prove yourself at every given point of time, and try your best to excel in whatever you're doing. This was the way I was brought up. This was the attitude with which I was raised. And because of the fact that the atmosphere at home was so positive,
Mm.
they started researching when I was about a year and a half old on, though my father was only a matriculate in those days, and mom had hardly done her 8th standard. They were still conscious and they started researching on what kind of institutions will be able to support me. And in those days, the number of such institutes was also less. But
Oh.
fortunately for us, they met some very good people like Dr. Niranjan Pandya, who was the executive director of Pune Blindmen's Association in those days, until
Mhm.
till he retired and passed away. He also met a couple of other people who guided him on the path of leading me through schooling and success. So initially days, when I was only 3.5 years old, they had to put me in a nursery school in Mumbai, which was dealing with special needs children, especially with visually impaired.
Okay, so at that time there was no school which was available in Pune.
No, not for children in KG.
Okay.
And so I had to be sent to Mumbai. I lived in Mumbai for 3 years. The first 2 years went very well, actually. It was a very good nursery school, which was looked after by one Mrs. Motwani. And
Mhm.
she was like a mother to me, actually. She took very good care of all the children who were with her. But
It was a residential school.
it was a residential school, yes.
So you started residing or you started staying in a hostel since three and a
In
half years.
half as well. Yes, yes.
Oh my God. Oh.
But what happened, sir, was that as luck would have it, or as destiny was meant to be,
Mhm.
when I went to standard first, I changed my school from Hindamata Nursery to Kamla Mehta School for the Blind in Mumbai.
Mhm.
A lot of challenges, and I fell very ill in the first semester only. And then, they couldn't deal with my illness very well, so they put me in an infectious diseases hospital. So I was down with measles, then it increased to, chicken pox, and a lot of things happened, and I felt very sick. So my father brought me back. He took a decision that I don't want to keep my child, in a special school anymore. Whatever happens, we'll deal with it. So he
Okay.
just brought me back. And then luckily it so happened that in Pune, there is an organization called Pune School and Home for the Blind, which came up with a boys' school in Koregaon Park, which was
Mhm.
not very far from my residence. So
Okay.
my father went and requested them that she's the only girl, but we are okay with it. You admit her in your school. And
Mhm.
in those days, they used to have a very good principal by the name Mr. Arun Joshi. He immediately said, you bring her, no problem. We'll take her. And from there started my journey in 19 74, yes, 1974, in the school at Koregaon Park. I
Okay.
studied there for the first 4 years. First to fourth, I was in a special school because I had to repeat my first standard. I lost
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Okay.
Then, of course, after having learned all the special skills like Braille and the necessary audio equipments, usage that was available, mathematics slate, etc. Our principal told my father that she is too bright for a special school. So why don't you admit her in a normal convent? So in those days, in 1979, from April onwards, my father started visiting all the well-known convents of Pune city. But everyone said that because she has studied in a special school, she has visual impairment. A, we are not equipped to deal with her. And B, she doesn't know English. So she will not be able to, gel with our children here. Because she's always studied in a vernacular school, which was true.
Okay.
And I was denied admission by all convents. But then there was a school, Marathi medium school, Camp Education Society, Kanya Shala. There my father went and met Mr. Gopal Lavadekar. And he said, I will take this challenge, but I have one condition. You have to sign a bond paper of 1,000 rupees and give me writing that if anything goes wrong with this child in the premises of the school, you're not going to blame the school. And those days, 1,000 rupees was a huge
amount.
Big amount. But my father said, okay, I will do that also. And he finally did it. And I got admission in 1979 in this institution, Camp Education Society, Kanya Shala.
Okay.
A very, very good school. I learned most of my value systems, love, affection, care, sense of belonging, and being tolerant from that school, from my teachers. I mean, there are n number of examples, if I were to give you, of my teachers who used to look after me so well. The only thing was, on the first day when I went to school with a huge big bag with all the Braille books, dots on a paper which children did not understand, they were very, very curious. And to satisfy their curiosity, what our principal did was he had to make an announcement because every child wanted to see me in the lunch break. So he had to, every class, I mean, they wanted to come and see me in the lunch break. So then he said, she will come tomorrow in the assembly hall and demonstrate how she studies. And then I was called to the principal's office and told that you have to do this because otherwise the children will remain very curious and they may not mix well with you. So that being the case, I next day addressed the assembly as a small child. Probably that was my first lesson of public speaking, I guess. And I told all my fellow friends that this is how I study, what is Braille in very brief, and etc. And from that day till the day I was in school, what love, affection, and cooperation I received was, it cannot be measured in words or expressed either in words. It just cannot be expressed in words.
Wow. So that was your first brush with public speaking, and which stayed with you till date.
That's right.
Okay. So I always had this question in my mind that when you go to a normal school to study, the textbooks, all the textbooks that are there are, given by the higher secondary or primary board. The same books are available in Braille for visually challenged people as well. Is it?
Same books, sir. No exemption whatsoever. The only exemption we have in the SSC board is that we don't do algebra and geometry. We do the general arithmetics of 5th, 6th, and 7th in the board exams in 10th standard. That is the only exemption. The rest, everything is the same. Even science practicals are also something that we experience. Like during my times, what they did was they used to teach me all the equipments like microscope or other things, and make me learn the importance and the use of these equipments, how they are used in experimental labs and stuff like that. So I would go there and I would talk about this. They would give me the slide and the slide cover and things like that. And then I would tell them why this is needed, why this is used. That is how our practicals also used to be conducted. They are still conducted in the same manner.
The same
And
manner.
of course, now the concepts have changed. Students do projects, etc. also. So those kind of things are also done now with help from technology and, other available modules. So we were not, it's not as if we had any special exemption. And I was always a very good child in school, both with respect to academics and co-curriculars. Like I used to participate a lot in speeches, elocutions, debates, and things like that. In fact, I am very proud to say this, that there was an inter-school speaking competition in 1983 when I was in the 9th standard. And the inter-school competition included all the students of convents across Pune. And it was a speech which I gave in English, a day I would like to forget. And I got the rotating trophy for my school. That was the first time in the history of any vernacular medium school that they won this competition, and I'm so glad that I was instrumental in making our school feel proud about that. And that is still remembered, 1983 to 84, that rolling trophy was with us.
Your school. I mean, if someone listens to you today, no one will say that you have been studied in a vernacular school. Your language, command on the language is so beautiful. After passing out through this integrating course, you decided to pursue your BA honors in history, and then you did your post-graduation in social science from Tata Institute of Social Sciences. What made you choose this as your topic for post-graduation, and how was the experience there?
So actually, to come to your first question first, what made me choose social work was the fact that I was always taught at home with several anecdotes that life is an art of giving, not only an art of living. So this was actually communicated to me in many ways. Like I was a very curious child. So when I used to go on the roads, my father would always describe what's happening around. When we used to be on scooter together, traveling, together, even as a family, when we would go out, he had this habit of giving audio descriptions of everything that was going around us. So, just I'll give you one simple story. One day we were going, somewhere, and at one point on the road, there was a huge amount of noise coming. So I just asked him, Papa, what is this? So he said, these are machines, which there's a big construction of a building going on. And these are all machines making noise because they are breaking the building now. Bulldozer, probably it was. Oh. So when he said that, I said, Papa, it is so nice to see these big buildings being made. These people who make the buildings, they too must be having very big houses, no? So my father said, no, beta, that's the irony of life. People who construct bungalows, flats for you, sleep on the roads. They don't have homes most of the times. So this was one anecdote. There were many such anecdotes through which he taught me what life was, what the reality of life was. However, still, till I went to TISS in Mumbai, I was always protected, overloved. All my wishes were granted. So it was like living in a, like how Siddhartha used to live in a palace, and something happened and life's reality struck in. That is what Tata Institute did to me, actually. But before coming to that, I would also like to tell you this, that the decision to do BA in History Honours was not mine, actually. So what happened was, in 11th standard, I took admission in English medium. And then because of the fact that I always wanted to pursue social work, I wanted to do psychology special in BA. But our head of the department in those days felt that because I was visually impaired, I could not analyze the facial expressions on the faces of my practical subjects. and hence I would not be able to pursue psychology, because she was maybe not aware of the fact that through voice modulation techniques and through analyzing voice, the visually impaired can make out very well what is, up with a person. But that said, I was not given an opportunity to study psychology. So the second best choice was history. And I went into the history class first day, and the way our teacher addressed us and the way she included me in class, I don't have any regrets about doing BA history honors, honestly speaking.
Wow. Wow. When did you join the National Federation for the Blind and the Jagruti School for the blind girls in particular?
So actually, sir, in 1989, I passed my BA history and went to Tata Institute of Social Sciences in Mumbai for 2 years, back again to Mumbai. And that experience was very, very revealing, because I was a child, as I told you, who was overloved and, really, really protected. When I went to Mumbai, probably my professors realized that this girl needs immense exposure in the real life situations. So the first field placement I got was with Tata Memorial Hospital, terminal care ward for children. And I was supposed to go and counsel these kids to prepare them to die. And that was something for a young girl of 22, 23. It was a very difficult task, actually, first thing. And secondly, more than me counseling these children, they used to come up and tell me things like, Didi, we are very loved creatures of the Lord. So we have been told that, and you also tell us the same thing, that because we are loved by God, He's going to take us away very soon. This was the first jolt. Then I was placed in Dharavali. That was more than enough for me to realize what kind of sorrows, pain, and troubles exist for people in this world. Life is not all about luxury, not all about, comforts and love and care. It's also about the real problems and trying to find solutions to them. And in those 2 years, I had made up my mind that someday I will start working with my visually impaired fellow community members and do something. But when I came back, initially, I did not get that opportunity. I worked for several years in different organizations, like in the field of cancer prevention, early detection. I worked with a nodal agency which was helping NGOs to develop their skills. I also worked with several other projects where we tried to design innovative training programs for adult visually impaired girls. Okay. And then in 1994, I got married and my daughter was born in 96. So after her birth, I decided to take a sabbatical from work for a couple of years.
Can I just put a question in between? You said that before joining this organization, you worked at different places.
Yes.
What challenges did you face, or what challenges usually a visually challenged person faces if that person is employed or placed at a place where all others are different than a visually impaired? So does it pose a challenge? How is the acceptance by the employer or by the fellow employees, and what challenges you face there?
So in those days, actually, to be honest, maybe it is my nature or the way I look at life and approach people. I was not so much subjected to many challenges. The only challenges I had were with respect to documenting my work, because there was no computer which would talk. There was no technology like screen reading softwares in those days, 1990s. So I had to take a lot of help and assistance from people. Barring that, I don't think acceptance was a problem. Yes, there was, definitely there is, if you are exceptionally good, and you're working in a larger organization, you do face, certain emotions like people being either jealous or, envious of you. You should know how to deal with them. So I used to very joyfully and laughingly deal with their envies, their jealousies, and try and explain to them that, if I'm good, you are equally good, that sort of stuff. So things can be dealt with, I think, with respect to such challenges. It depends.
Does the children or the girls who pass out from the school and the college, which you are running now for last so many years, do they face any challenges when they are posted or they are recruited somewhere?
Definitely, sir. Huge number of challenges. I mean, first of all, their capacities are also questioned at times. So many of my girls who work in banks, who work in insurance companies or software industry do tell me this, that we are underworked. They feel that they can do much more, and they're being given less work. So that is one challenge which they definitely face. But we do try to address this challenge by continuously mentoring them and also trying to keep in touch with their employers who have taken on the challenge of accepting these children. We tell them what are the different ways in which you can involve these kids more. So, for example, in banks, we always tell them that these children have a very good gift of gab, and with support from screen reading softwares, they can also do data entry. So put them in customer relations, put them in data entry, put them in, use their strengths, credit collection, customer relations. So we give tips to the employers on how best you can use these people so that they don't feel underworked and they don't feel as if their salary is a charity coming to them, because nobody likes it that way. So that is one big challenge which we are trying to deal with slowly and steadily at our level, and things are improving. Now people are accepting the fact that the specially abled can do a lot and their capacities can be enhanced, and they are capable of doing a lot of tasks which we perceive that they can't do. So definitely
that's what I wanted, just because you said before joining this institution, you worked with a few other organizations as well. Now, when you joined the Jagruti School for Blind Girls, how has been your journey so far with them? And, I know that you faced quite a lot of challenges there as well, and you have overcome those challenges to be where you are today.
So before starting the how of the journey, I'll tell you the why also. Yeah. So as I was telling you earlier, after my daughter's birth, I had taken a sabbatical to be with her. And then what happened was, in April 1999, I got a call from one of my cousin brothers who said that there is this girl who is visually impaired and she is actually staying in Jalgaon. But she's now looking for admission in a blind school because she's over age and no other school in and around Jalgaon is ready to accept. So when he asked me this, he said, "Can you help?" I said, "Yes, I will definitely do." And I spoke to Mr. Ramesh Gulani, who was the founder of NFBM Jagruti School for Blind Girls, and told him the facts. And he said that, see, we are not completely aided by the government, so we are not under any obligation to take girls of specific age and any such rule. So you bring this child, I will make sure that she gets admission in our school and gets schooling, completes her schooling. Okay. So with that girl and her parents, I visited the Jagruti School for Blind Girl in May 1999. And what I saw there was absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, in about barely a 200 square foot, 250 square foot room, there was 70 floor beddings kept and 70 children were staying there. The conditions of hygiene were very, very bare minimum because there were just 2 toilets and 2 bathrooms shared by these 70 kids. The kitchen was half constructed, the whole building was half constructed, and it was right next to a cow shed that was itself a danger. And there were a lot of issues actually, which we had to basically address. And I thought to myself that if I were to give admission to my daughter here, would I do so? And the answer was definitely no. But this girl had no choice. So she took admission here and started living here. But it was not only her, but all other children whose, condition I felt was really, really difficult. So I spoke to Mr. Gulani about this. I told him, being a young, idealistic, professional social worker, I gave him all his bad points, that how evil he was to keep these kids like this. And he listened to me for 15 minutes and then said only one sentence. See, the problem is you could convince me of the fact that I'm a bad human being. You have a very good gift of the gap. Why don't you use it for raising funds for us and helping us to design innovative strategies of mobilizing resources and new projects?
It was a big issue of talent.
Instead of using your gift of the gap to convince me how bad I am, which I already know, there's no point in doing that. So I actually got a shock of my life. I thought about it and I said, yes, sir, you're absolutely right. And I was anyways looking for an opportunity of this kind. So I joined them in July 1999 as a spokesperson and a cause advisor. And ever since then, I have been working with this institution. The journey, the how of the journey is something very challenging, actually. So from there, we started our step-by-step upward movement. The first task which me and my team together have accomplished is the task of completing the hostel building where the children were staying. That was handed over to them in March 2000 after I joined in July, for which I had to do a lot of running around to get
within a year's time, you could manage to mobilize the resources and build a hostel building and hand it over back to them.
Yes, sir. And then
that's wonderful.
Then it was like a continuous journey. So we were the first school in Maharashtra to bring a Braille books publication center at a smaller level in 2001 and expanded it to a large press in 2012 with support from Rotary Club of Nigri and Cummins India, of course. We were the first school in Maharashtra which provided computer training to its students with support from, again, Rotary Club of Pune Airport. In 2004, we started a computer lab, fully accessible computer lab. So it's almost now 21 years back. We were the first school to take this lead. And then in that same year, we got a plot of land, which was almost like a hillock, a 2 acres plot of land, where we built the current campus. Of course, not without any kind of struggle.
I had a chance to visit you there and to see the campus around, and it's very beautifully built. And there were challenges when you're building that as well, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. The first challenge was that the land terrain was very funny. We were donated a gairan, actually, what we call it as. It was a hillock. So the land leveling was not possible because that would have costed us as much money as the construction, because it was a good 2 acres plot. But luckily, we found a very good architect, Mr. Rahul Rawat. I'm eternally grateful to him, actually, for what he has achieved. He looked at the landscape, the terrain, and he said, we will make use of this. Don't worry. And we'll come up with a very good institutional campus. So in 2009, after collecting the base capital, for which also I'm very, very grateful to many people whose names I can't take, but I'm very grateful to them for trusting in me, because in those days there was nothing over there. There was just a plot. And they donated me around 15-20 lakhs, and we started work in 2009. In 2016, on the 10th of April, with support from many, many organizations, we could successfully complete the construction of our school and the skill development center buildings, which are currently housed on that campus. That also...
When you say skill development center, Can you just tell us about what different kinds of skills are taught to these girls and how they help them in future, their future?
Definitely, sir. So, with respect to skill development, what we do is we have different kinds of courses which we have designed. First of all, we enroll students who are academically of a slightly brighter aptitude in Pune's NFBM Skill Development Center, where from 11th standard they have started staying with us from the year 2023 when the school reopened post-COVID.
Okay.
Here we teach them skills like languages, foreign languages, English, Spanish, and German. We
Okay.
teach them content writing. We teach them voice modulation. We teach
So
them.
these girls are then now posted as interpreters or something of that sort.
Not yet, sir. In linguistics, they still need to go a long way. They have to give their
Okay.
A2 and B1 and C1 level exams to become interpreters. So that
Okay.
process is on. Because this is a first batch, so that process is still on. But
Okay.
we have successfully placed a large number of girls, around 20 girls, ever since the inception of this center in 2023, in various sectors, private sector jobs, like there are communications officers, there are facilities managers, there are, girls who are also working with special schools as teachers, customer relations executives, sales executives, large number of different kinds of jobs. And
Wow.
in the last 35 years history of this institution, we've had around 450 students who have passed out standard 10th and 12th from the school. And I know of 175 children who are gainfully employed and doing very well for themselves in life. They've made families, they've got married, they have children, they're living absolute normal lives, these kids, and earning for themselves and looking after their families. So
That's a huge achievement.
we have been able to change the perception of their parents from being on the liability side of the balance sheet to bringing them to the asset side of the balance sheet of life. That is what we have achieved. But sir, having said that,
Yeah, tell me, this is after they have passed out from the institution and they have been placed at nice organizations.
yeah.
How easy or how difficult it has been to admit these girls to the institution? Are parents, readily willing to, send the kids to your institution? Has it been changed over years? Like initially it was very difficult. Now the things have changed. They are willing to send the kids. And what is the strata of these kids when you admit it? Are they from affluent class or, they are from a lower class?
No, so sir,
Economic.
these are underprivileged, economically impoverished children whom we admit.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the journey of admitting these children and bringing them to our school is not very easy, actually. We need to use a lot of convincing power even today. So what our teachers do is they are the ambassadors for the school who bring children. They actually show the parents videos. They prepare the parents for, the setup. They bring them here at their own cost and show to the parents the setup of the school, and tell them that, see, what you will never be able to give to your child is what your child will get in this institution. Good education, good food, nutrition, good facilities and everything, exposure as well. That's what our teachers do actually. They are the cause ambassadors, as I said, for the school. Things have improved, I would say, in the decades of 2010 onwards. Things are really improved. Like I remember in 1999, I joined them, and in 2005, I had tried to go for home visits to a couple of parents' houses where I was denied entry even, and then they started coming and telling me things like, no, in special schools, our children are beaten, they are not given food. We know you will take her and then you'll never bring her back, or things of that sort. Means they had all kinds of misconceptions about organizations of this sort. So what I told them was, okay, you come and stay with your child for 8 days and see if they are being beaten or they are not being looked after or food is not being given to them. And then decide for yourself whether you would like to give admission to her in our school. That is the extent to which we've had to go. I mean, it has been challenging. So right from the admission to the school to providing free lodging, boarding, education, facilities to these children, to constructing this state-of-the-art campus where our school, skill development center, and a very well-equipped hostel building currently stand. It has been a journey which has constantly taught me how to be humble and modest. Because if I was not that, I don't think I would have been able to carry forward the negotiations. Because what happened was, post the completion of the school and the skill development center, the girls started using it in 2016. But we started work on the hostel building on 16 July 2016. For the first 3 years, things were absolutely fine. Work was going as planned. But suddenly in 2019, the funding dried up or slowed down for that matter because of industrial slowdown. And then we were struck with COVID in 2020. So in those 2 years, sir, the complete focus of CSR had changed from any kind of infrastructure development to definitely managing the COVID-19 pandemic and the implications of it. So we were nowhere in their priority list. Funding completely dried up. We used to get money, but that was only for distributing ration to visually impaired, to our children's families and looking after them, giving them devices, making sure that the online classes are continued for these kids with whatever glitches and difficulties, but still their education does not get hampered. So that was a priority for those 2 years. There was nowhere infrastructure development. And the impact of this was so bad that our budget for the hostel building rose from around 5 crores to around 9 crores. And we had great difficulty in convincing corporates who were helping us to complete this building that this is not our fault, that this is a consequence of this pandemic. Labor costs have increased, material costs have increased. And we used to actually have negotiation meetings till 6 and 7 in the evening at the school. I still remember in those days with corporates, and with great difficulty, we could convince a few, and they came forward and they supported us. And the work started in full-fledged from towards the end of 2022. And then we completed the building in 2024 and handed it over to the girls last year on 15th of October. So it will be about a year now that the girls are using that building. But yes, all those experiences have taught me 2 things. One is being humble, accepting of whatever criticism comes your way, and also being grateful for what happened. So gratitude, humbleness, and acceptance, these are the 3 things. Tolerance and patience, these virtues were already there in me, but the first 3 virtues that I mentioned have come about because of this pandemic.
What other skill development courses you are, other than the linguistic ones which we discussed, what are the other courses which you run?
Other courses, as I mentioned to you, we run a certificate course in recruitment consultancy, content writing, and we also run courses in voice modulation. And we are now training children in chocolate making as well. That's another area which we are focusing on. These courses are run in partnership with various organizations. Like content writing is run with Indic AI Foundation. The voice modulation courses we are running with Punchline Communications, which is looked after by Dr. Amit Tribhuvan and Sunita Tribhuvan. And the recruitment consultancy certification course is also something that we are running with Indic AI. So we have partners who are helping us, and we are also now Last year, we have selected a batch of 5 very bright girls who are now in second year of BA. We have started training them with support from a company called Intel Key Systems in preparing for UPSC exams. So
Wow.
that is my vision, actually. If you ask me about the future plans,
That was my next question, actually. What's your dream for future? Where would you like your school to be?
so the school, I would really like it to be as much technology oriented as possible. We are making best efforts there also. We are trying to provide laptop computers to every class from standard 5th. This year, the first such batch was of standard 8th, who have been given personal laptops and are being trained. The idea is that 2 years down the line, at least, our students should not have to use writers for writing their exams. They should be so computer savvy that they should be able to write, or for that matter, type their own papers. That is
Okay.
one thing. And the second dream I have is, out of these 5 girls, 1 or 2 children should at least clear the UPSC exams and go into Indian Administrative Services and become our spokespersons of this community in the UPSC cadre. We do have some visually impaired who have done extremely well in these careers. There are people who are trying to speak and uplift this community, but we need more, sir. We need more representatives from this community to be able to strongly put forward our viewpoint.
Has the approach from the government towards all this has changed over years? Do you think that it's changed for good?
No, sir, it's the same apathy that you unfortunately see in many such socially oriented schemes. So, for example, just to give you our own situation, when we started the school on 4th January 1989, we were sanctioned a grant for 40 students, and the same grant continues till today. We are trying our best to get 100% grant from the government, but that is not forthcoming at all. So that's a sad part, actually.
I think you have close to 180 girls residing in the hostel.
Yes, that's right.
40 you get the grant from the government, but for rest 140
No.
you need to look for your own.
Yes, we need to fend for ourselves. So it's mainly corporate donors and individual sponsors who are supporting this institution in achieving its objectives and realizing its dreams. Government contribution is very minuscule.
How can people like us help this noble cause? What all ways we have to help this noble cause of yours?
One, sir, is that we really need funds to carry out all our dreams that we are still envisaging. Like, for example, my campus of the school, the external part, you have visited it, so you know that there is a long way to go with respect to developing that whole area. We need to make compound walls, we need to make campus roads, we need to make a very good accessible playground for the children. So that's going to require a lot of funds for infrastructure development. The second thing, and of course, funds for recurring management of this institution, because the facility is so big now. The built area currently is around 45,000 square feet. So for security, safety, for cleaning, housekeeping, all these areas are going to need support. Food and nutrition of the children, providing them with accessible aids and appliances, personal care items, uniforms, everything will require support, sir. So funding is one area in which people can definitely help. And it is my humble request to everyone who's listening to this podcast to in any way come forward and support us whatsoever way possible. The second area would also be your expertise, your special skills, your professional talents, wherever you can contribute, taking soft skill training workshops, taking workshops on health and hygiene, coming forward for some camps, or those kind of things also. So contribution in terms of your services, that could also be one area in which people can definitely come forward and support this institution, get attached with us, help us
Okay.
to better our performance.
Okay. I think we have just crossed 40, 50, 55 minutes of discussion. So we have to close this podcast at some point of time. My last question to you would be, what message do you want to give to our viewers and to all the visually challenged community, which is there out, not yet, into the mainstream? So, what message you would like to give to them?
So my very simple message, which I always try to communicate with everyone, is that life is a journey full of obstacles, challenges, and difficulties. But it is your approach which makes it very simple. The complexities of life can be simplified if you have a positive and ever forthcoming optimistic approach to life. A never giving up attitude, that would really help, both for the society, for the community at large, and for my friends who are visually impaired. Never give up in life, whatsoever comes your way. Just follow the track. Believe in yourself and believe in some superpower which is controlling us and which has given a purpose to our life and told us that this is what you're supposed to do, having come to this planet and being on this platform for whatever number of years that you are here on. So live your life in a most positive way, king size, and celebrate every moment of your life.
Wow. And who else to hear it from? Sakina ji, you have been through all this for so many years, and you have built, or you have been, as you rightly said, that you are recognized now as a powerhouse for others who are sailing in the same boat. And I hope that your words will inspire them as well to do something good in life. And after hearing you, listening to you for so many years now, that even people like us should come forward to employ people with special needs as well, and give them also a chance to stand on their own feet and earn their livelihood, like as you said, not like given as a charity to them, but they also should have that feeling that yes, I am working for this institution, and that's the reason why I have been paid for. Wonderful having you here today, and having a word with you for on different aspects of what you have done in your life. Once again, thank you so much for being here, Sakina ji, on this podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It was a pure pleasure being here, and I hope I have been able to contribute in my little way to this journey of yours of having people with different perspectives on podcasts. Thank you so much, sir, for calling me once again.
Thank you so much, and let's get together and help the noble cause in whatever we can. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.